individual monad's successive states. Nothing said about values or ends or functions. And indeed, Leibniz says, number 21, that which persists insofar as it involves all cases contains primitive forces, so that primitive force is the law of the series, as it were, while derivative force is the determinate value which distinguishes some term in the series. Just abstract, there's a law. And you might also look at number 22, which is longer, and I won't read it out. This account of the transtemporal unity of a soul is elicited in connection with the explanation of Bayle's dog as well. Yet it's evident that there has to be more to it than this. I mean, the law must be suitable to subsume all and only acts plausibly regarded as acts of the same monad, and the law must be capable of explaining the intelligible ground of their ascription to one and the same monad. Just any old law won't do. Moreover, no law suffices to determine the actual states of a monad. Doesn't matter what it's a law about. This is because of the thoroughgoing heterogeneity of actual change, according to Leibniz. Quote, things which are uniform, containing no variety, are always mere abstractions, for instance, time, space, and the other entities of pure mathematics. Homogeneous things include completely uniform parts of time, and the uniform motions and other regular effects considered by mathematicians. A law is, in the nature of the case, a description of many instances in the same way, a regularity, a homogeneity. Because a law inevitably specifies a uniform way of changing, a law plus the initial state of a monad does not determine the actual transitions between states of the monad, for no two such transitions are exactly alike. As a result, the particular concrete states of a monad must have individual properties in an order from which we can infer the general law that subsumes each transition and grounds the ascription of every state to the same monad. Now, if the states were of no particular kind, we could infer no particular law. But in fact, we know their perceptions, and we know the transition from one to another is caused by appetition. If the cognitions are if the perceptions are literally cognitions, and the appetites are essentially desiderative, then the series can be subsumed under the abstract Aristotelian Thomistic explanatory theory that I've been suggesting. And the theory justifies ascribing them all to one and the same monad because it is, after all, a theory of agency, goal-oriented agency. I would not want to suggest that an interpretation which backs away from a literal a notion of perception as cognition, or a univocal notion of appetition, cannot support a law which has these properties, although I do want to suggest, or it's not clear to me, that such a law could be as simple or as thoroughly explanatory as the one I just mentioned. This is a matter that would have to be discussed in more detail before there is a hope of resolution. But I hope to have shown that a literal reading is considerably more tenable and theoretically powerful than many scholars suppose. More important for this conference, it offers a picture of the order internal to a monad in which every change is explained by a monad's confrontation with the changing world. Monads are responsive to the future perfection of the world, the things it perceives in the world, confusedly perceived from their respective points of view. A monad is always striving to perceive the impending good in things in the world insofar as it's able to perceive it, and it always attains some measure of satisfaction despite its frustrations. So then, a monad might well be said to exemplify, within the constraints of its perspectives, the order of the universe as a whole, as it unfolds according to Leibniz's principle of the best.